Hello and welcome to our news broadcast to you from Canal Algérie. First, the top stories of the news. Representing the President of the Republic, Prime Minister Nadir Arbawi is in Gambia to take part in the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Several activities are held in Algeria to celebrate the World Press Freedom Day, with major achievements recorded over the past few years. And as per the President's instructions, Palestinian children are in Algeria to be treated after being wounded during the Zionist heinous aggressions on Gaza. Welcome back. Those were the top stories, and now the news in full. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, congratulated the female football team of Aqbu after snatching the Cup of Algeria trophy, thanking on his official account all those behind this major sporting achievement for the Aqbu team. So the female football team of Aqbu snatched the Cup of Algeria trophy after beating CS Constantine on penalty shootout. The under-17 trophy was won as well by the Aqbu team, while the Parado AC male team triumphed over CSC, which won the cup title. Congratulations to the winner, the least to say. Representing the President of the Republic, Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi arrived to the Gambian capital, Banjul, to take part in the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, slated for the 4th and the 5th of the current month. The Premier was received upon his arrival by the Gambian Vice President, Mohamed Jalou, and the Tourism Minister as well. So Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi is in the capital Banjul of Gambia to take part in the summit of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, which will tackle several challenges facing the Muslim nation, notably hatred, Islamophobia, and dialogue between civilizations. More insight with Melissa Kabesh in this report.
The agenda of the 50th Summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation is topped this year by important issues, including the Palestinian cause, the refusal of hatred speech and Islamophobia, in addition to the promotion of dialogue between civilizations.
This summit should bring us together for us to show solidarity and support each other, whether it's Palestinian, whether it's somewhere else. As long as we are Muslims and humanity at large, we should come together to make sure that we stand with each other.
Inshallah, today we discussed so many questions about the Palestine, about the Islamic cooperation, about the economy, about the future.
We've discussed several issues, notably the Palestinian one, those related to the economic and political fields as well. As for the Palestinian file, it was clear that we are all concerned.
On était donc aussi en bonne position. C'est la question palestinienne, vous comprenez que c'est à l'unanimité que la préoccupation a été partagée.
We hail Algeria's position at the heart of the UN Security Council. Indeed, we've noticed the excellent coordination during this event, as well as within the African Union when Algeria, Djibouti and other countries opposed the adhesion of the Zionist entity as an observer member in the African Union. These positions highlighted the principles and values of both Arab and Muslim countries.
وشعوبنا العربية والإسلامية بل وأصحاب كل ضمير حي في العالم. The political event is an opportunity for member countries to consolidate their cooperation and pave the way for a constructive dialogue when it comes to international questions and challenges faced by the Muslim and Arab nation.
On the sidelines of his participation in the 21st session of the ministerial meeting of African Nordic countries, the Foreign Affairs Minister Ahmed Attaf met with his Tanzanian, Angolan, Rwandan and Somalian counterparts. Bilateral relations held pride of place during these meetings, in addition to the latest development in the continent and the role of Algeria, along with the 3 African countries members of the UN Security Council. On the sidelines of the high-level coordination meeting relating to illegal migration held in Rome, the Interior Minister Brahim Murad met with his Tunisian and Libyan opposite members. The meeting was an opportunity to review the recommendations stemming from this get-together, in addition to ways and means of implementing them on the ground. On the occasion of the World Press Freedom Day, coinciding with May the 3rd, the national media landscape has gained more ground thanks to several measures undertaken by the President of the Republic meant to create a better climate for the national press, called upon to defend Algeria's positions regionally and internationally. More details with Ines Kilo.
Freedom of press, professional responsibility and ethics are inseparable. The state, led by the President of the Republic, has repeatedly called for a professional and responsible information system that takes into account societal values and helps to consolidate the intrinsic components of our national identity. The national media landscape is entering a new era in line with the changes taking place at the national, continental and global levels, requiring media to assume responsibility for processing and transmitting information to the public opinion. The President of the Republic gives a pride of place to media by holding regular meetings with representatives of the national press.
والمقصود بهذه اللقاءات هو إطلاع المواطن بكل ما يجري.
The purpose of these meetings is to inform citizens of what is happening in the state, including projects and decisions taken, and even previous events that have occurred. And this is something that indicates transparency, integrity, and freedom of speech.
وحرية الإعلام والتعبير.
قناة الجزائر الدولية كانت الرائدة في ما يخص الدفاع عن صورة الجزائر.
Media plays an important role. It is a mirror and a weapon used by nations to defend their interests. Another achievement of the national press is the international channel.
نقدر نقولوا تكملة أو سي كومبليمونتير يعني للأعمال التي نشأتها.
Radio Ifriqiya, or Africa FM, was created to carry the voice of Algeria to the whole continent. And since journalism is a responsibility, the organization of the sector has been at the heart of the state's priorities by granting it a legal framework. Among the many other achievements, the new media city, Zaire Media City, in Ouled Fayet, which will bring together media, film studios, the artists' village, and a learning and research space. A large-scale project likely to upgrade a constant training for journalists called upon now more than ever before to cope with the ongoing challenges and defend Algeria's interests at all levels.
On the same occasion, the Communication Minister Mohamed Al-Agab had an intense activity during which he inaugurated several facilities likely to boost the sector during this sensitive period for Algeria, getting ready for multifaceted challenges. The roundup with Ines Kilo once again.
On the occasion of celebrating the World Press Freedom Day, the Minister of Communication, Mohamed Al-Agab, inaugurated the satellite ground station dedicated to hosting private channels at the Broadcasting Center here in Algiers. This center will enable Algerian channels to broadcast and air their programs from Algeria. On the spot, the Minister for Communication inspected various facilities such as the control, reception and broadcasting room. The Minister for Communication officially inaugurated the headquarters of the National Organization of Algerian Journalists at the Tahir Jaoud Press Center, saying that it was normal for the media family to organize itself through professional unions of this kind. He hoped that this new facility would play a positive role in supervising the media landscape in Algeria. Mohamed Al-Agab then headed to the Nelson Mandela Stadium, where he named the conference room after the late sports commentator Mohamed Saleh and Abdelkader Hammani. On the occasion of this World Press Freedom Day, the Minister of Communication paid tribute at the Press Square here in Algiers to the profession's martyrs and laid a wreath of flowers in front of the commemorative stele and recited the Fatiha in their memory.
To another story now, and as per the instructions of the President of the Republic, Palestinian children are in Algiers to be treated after being wounded during the barbaric Zionist aggressions on Gaza. The wounded, accompanied by their families, were repatriated aboard two medically equipped military aircrafts belonging to the PNA Air Forces from Cairo to Boufarik Military Air Base. Mila Sakibesh has more to say.
55 Palestinian children victimized by the Zionist barbarism have been repatriated alongside accompanying members aboard two military medically equipped aircraft belonging to the Algerian Air Forces.
I am accompanying my niece, her mother and siblings all fell martyrs. We are the only family she has, me and my two sons.
The National Army's command mobilized for this operation, the second of its kind, two medical aircrafts belonging to the Algerian Air Forces, under the supervision of a specialized medical staff.
We have been warmly welcomed. I would like to hail the efforts deployed to save these Palestinian children.
إنها تحاول تجري المرضى واللي تعرضوا للأذى في فلسطين.
والله الأحوال يعني صعبة كتير.
The situation in Gaza is unbearable. We've lived a difficult situation. I don't even know where to start.
والحال صعبة يعني ومش عارفين إيش نحكي.
اليوم وهو إثبات حي على أن
We are witnessing the solidarity of Algeria towards the Palestinian people as I received these wounded Palestinian children.
الحدث أمامكم الآن.
أنا أصلاً جريحة من الأساس.
I am wounded, but today I am accompanying this little girl who lost her parents.
قدر يطلع معها لأنه ما إلها حد.
The initiative was carried out as per the guidelines of the President of the Republic. It aims at allowing these children to benefit from medical care following the trauma and injuries they've endured due to the Zionist bombardments that targeted Palestinian civilians.
We've seen several wounded seeking treatment. The instructions of the President of the Republic were strictly followed. We hail the Air Forces of the People's National Army for their commitment, humanitarian participation and solidarity within the framework of bringing support to our brothers in Gaza.
في إطار إخواننا ومساعدة إخواننا في غزة.
We welcome the refugees that endured terrible challenges before arriving to Algeria. Algeria is committed to grant them the necessary support.
نحن من خلالكم نتقدم بكل الشكر والتقدير.
We express our deep gratitude to the Algerian state, particularly the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, regarding his guidelines related to welcoming the wounded. We thank Algeria and all its institutions for its continuous efforts in support of our fellow citizens wounded and those in need.
We're proud of Algeria's diplomatic efforts and the commitment of the People's National Army that opened the doors of its military hospitals to welcome the wounded, as well as the unwavering support of the country's authorities and that of the President of the Republic for the Palestinian cause.
الدعم الدائم للسلطات العليا للبلاد ورئيس الجمهورية للقضية الفلسطينية.
The children will be fully taken in charge at the level of the military hospitals. As for their accompanying members, they will be welcomed within the military cycle of the People's National Army, a telling evidence of Algeria's unconditional support towards this fair cause.
To the latest development in the Palestinian territory, still subject to heinous attacks, bringing death toll to high numbers of martyrs. In the meantime, a total blackout is being imposed to hide these savage atrocities to the world, in the words of our correspondents, Wissam Abu Zaid and Leticia Sadqawi, read out by Ines Gillo.
My colleague Sami Abu Shahada did not have the chance to celebrate the World Press Freedom Day like the rest of journalists in the world, as he is still receiving medical care after his foot was amputated by a Zionist tank shell that entered Al-Nusayrat camp. In the middle of the strip, a long treatment path awaits him, but he is as determined as always to fulfill his noble missions despite the dangers.
Despite all the atrocities by the Zionist army, such as massacres against media, nonetheless, they remain the voice of the truth and they must continue.
Since the beginning of the aggression, 135 journalists were murdered, while hundreds are injured. The Zionist army arrested over 100 journalists during the ground incursion and targeted 33 journalist families, without forgetting those detained or under the rubble.
Our biggest challenge is to stay alive after every coverage amid a famine and lack of resources. We are even struggling to eat.
The occupation purposely striked 86 media offices and institutions to hinder the coverage from Gaza, which was fought by the journalists with their pens, cameras and microphones, and even social media, despite the communication blackout, in fear that their crimes will be exposed to the world. On World Press Freedom Day, anti-ballot vests with press clearly written over. It no longer has any purpose. The Zionist aggressor is blind to international laws and has no consideration to media nor humanity as a whole.
Back to Algeria, a terrorist was killed and two support elements arrested in Tinzaouatine in the operational sector of Burj Baji Mukhtar by an army detachment, recovering, by the way, some arms and ammunition, according to the National Defense Ministry. A fresh boost is given to the Sahrawi journalists in the Bujadur, and Bujadur now hosting an international solidarity conference to make the voice of these oppressed people heard across the world and debate the full blackout being imposed on the last colony in the continent. More details with both Walid Yousfi and Leticia Sadqawi.
The second day of the conference devoted to media kicked off with a sit-in to express solidarity with the Sahrawi people detained in Moroccan prisons, before workshops and roundtables began as the day went by. On the agenda, establishing an international league for journalists in solidarity with the Sahrawi cause.
This network is a gain for us, Sahrawi journalists. We suffer enormously in the occupied territories. Our cameras, microphones, and all of our items were confiscated on many occasions to prevent us from working. This league will give a wider echo to the Sahrawi cause on the media landscape. This can only be beneficial for us. It is a great idea. Yesterday, we learned how Sahrawi journalists are treated in the occupied territories by Morocco. We feel for these journalists, which is why we are happy to be here to show solidarity. I was kidnapped and detained for more than 6 years in Al-Makhzen jails. I met a lot of other Sahrawi journalists who were jailed for only shedding light on our case. Sahrawi journalists are oppressed.
My duty as a journalist is to depict the reality. Media is now indispensable to convey information being purposely hidden. This network, which constitutes another achievement for the Sahrawi cause on the international media scene, stems from a preliminary Algerian network created in 2015. There's an ongoing war that is barely covered by media outlets. One of the objectives is to lift this blockade and to deliver the message of the Sahrawi people. The creation of an international network is to change the position of some people to mobilize support worldwide in favor of the Polisario in Western Sahara. This network now gathers journalists from 24 countries, allies of the Sahrawi cause. Figures are expected to rise with the adhesion of other media from around the world.
With this, we come to the end of our English news broadcast to you from Canal Algérie. Tomorrow, another day of the news. Take care and bye-bye for now. Keep tuning to our channel.